Hi everyone. In today's video we'll be doing a Hatha flow, just a little one, and it'll be primarily focused on balancing poses. So we'll start standing in mountain pose, so roll your shoulders back, ground down through the feet, core strong, reaching up through the crown of the head. Take a moment to really plant your feet and spread your toes out as much as you can, and then raise up on your tippy toes, and then back down. Just a tiny little movement here, really spreading the toes out and then pushing into the mat with the toes, lifting the heels off the mat. And then doing the opposite, just kind of pushing the heels into the mat, rolling them around. We're just really trying to get a little stretch and a little massage into all the muscles in our feet. And now back into mountain, core really strong, reaching up through the crown of the head, hands to the side, palms facing forward. And on an exhale, fold forward over the legs, letting your head hang and hands come behind the legs. Take a breath like this, and then on an exhale, allow the hands to drop in front of you, and then grab onto the opposite elbows with your hands. Bend your knees here so you have a little bit more support. You're going to take a few breaths here. This is called ragdoll pose, and it really helps to stretch out the spine. So the neck hangs loose, everything relaxed in the upper body. And then also switch which arm is on top of the other, holding onto the elbows. And just notice how that feels a little different. As you inhale, feeling the belly push against the thighs, and as you exhale, softening. On your next inhale, slowly roll back up to standing. And roll your shoulders up, back, and down to come back into mountain pose. Feet are hip width distance apart, and core is strong. Now exhale and fold forward over the legs again, just for one breath this time. And then inhale, rise back up to standing. Roll the shoulders back, mountain pose for one breath. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, folding forward over the legs again. Letting the neck hang, maybe shaking the head side to side or nodding the head up and down to kind of help loosen the neck. And then on your next inhale, rising up vertebrae by vertebrae until you're standing up straight again. Roll the shoulders back, mountain pose for one breath. And then loosen up the legs a bit by taking some steps on the mat, and then ground down through your right foot. You can also be beside a wall for support for this. We're going to lift up the left leg, grabbing onto the knee with the left hand, and putting the right hand on the hip, balancing here. Now open that leg up to the side as much as you can. And it can help for balance to focus on one point to look at. You can also try to extend your arm out to the side, core really strong, the entire right leg is engaged. And now introduce some movement, so bringing the left knee forwards and then out to the side. Forwards and out to the side. We'll do a couple more times, bringing the knee forward and then bringing the knee out to the side and back to the ground. Now we'll repeat on the opposite side, so ground down through the left foot, spread the toes as wide as you can, and then lift the right knee up this time, grabbing on with the right hand. Left hand comes to the hip. Take one breath here, really engaging that left leg, glutes really strong, core engaged. And then open up the right leg out to the side. Flex your foot here for a little bit more stability, and you can also extend your left arm out to the side. Core really strong. And now let's introduce some movement. So bringing the right knee in front, slowly guiding it with the hand, and then back out to the side. back to the front, and back out to the side. And then one more cycle here, bringing the knee to the front of the body, and then opening the knee out to the side, and then back to the front and back down to the mat. Now shake out the legs, just loosening up the muscles a bit, and then inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hips over the legs. Take one breath here, and then on your next inhale, come up to a halfway lift, hands on the shins, and then exhale, place your hands on the mat in front of you and step down into a kneeling position. Keep your toes tucked under and then sit back towards your heels for a nice stretch in the toes. You can stay still in one position here, or you can wiggle the feet around. You can readjust your feet so that it might be stretching in a different spot. Just breathing and feeling the deep stretch in the toes and really the whole bottom of the foot. Just a couple more breaths here. And then leaning forward, placing the hands on the mat, untucking the toes so your feet lay flat underneath you, sitting back onto your heels, and then using your fingertips to push into the mat, gently lifting your knees off the mat any amount. This will give you a nice stretch in the front of the foot this time and the ankle. You usually don't need to come up very far off the mat to feel that stretch. You can readjust if you'd like, spreading the feet out in a different angle, maybe getting a stretch in a different part of the ankle or foot or toes. And then placing your knees back down on the mat, hands coming in front of you into tabletop pose. Now tuck your toes under your feet and then push with your toes and hands, lifting your hips up towards the sky, downward dog pose. Spreading your fingers wide, pushing into the mat. Lengthening your legs, pressing your heels towards the ground. And then lift the right leg up and straight out behind you. Maybe keeping a micro bend in the left knee. Really grounding down through the hands. Lift the leg as high as you can for a moment. And then step it forwards between your hands, coming up into a lunge. Left leg is strong behind you, and the right leg is in front with the knee bent over top of the ankle. Hands can come to meet each other in front of the chest. Now step the left foot forward a bit and flat on the mat, slightly pointed out to the side at about a 45-degree angle. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead so they're alongside your ears. Hips are squared forwards here. The right knee is still bent. And take a breath here in Warrior One. Now really ground down through the right foot, spreading the toes onto the mat. We're going to move from Warrior One to Warrior Three. So on your inhale, push up with the left foot, balance on the right foot only. Arms come out to the sides for balance, and try to keep your left leg parallel to the floor, with your torso dipping down only a little bit, or if you can, keeping it parallel to the floor as well. Pushing out through the heel and keeping your hips square. On your next inhale, float the left foot to the inside of the right leg, coming into tree pose, still only balancing on the right leg. Your left foot can either be in a kickstand, so at your ankle, or at your shin, your calf, or your inner thigh. Put your hands on your hips, or press the palms together in front of the chest, or inhale and reach your arms up overhead. We're going to take a couple more breaths here in tree pose. And again, it really helps to find one thing to look at for balance. Now exhale, left foot to the floor. Shake out your legs. Bring the feet to about hip width distance apart again. Ground down through the feet. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Core strong, legs strong. mountain pose. Taking one breath here, and then on your exhale, hinging at the hips and folding forward. Bending your knees a little bit for support. Bring your hands to the backs of the legs, any place, letting the neck hang. And then on your next inhale, rising up halfway, hands on the shins. And then exhale, hands to the mat, stepping the feet back so that your knees come down to the mat as well, about hip width distance apart. Rising up to balance on our knees, you can either leave your feet flat on the mat or you can tuck your toes underneath for a little bit more balance. And something else you might want to do to support your knees, you can roll your mat back so that you have some extra cushioning, or you can use a blanket or a towel underneath. So from here, really engage your legs and your glutes. Inhale, arms out to the sides, back behind you. Flip the hands so that you can push gently into your lower back. Now with your hands braced here, gently tilt your head back, or if you have neck sensitivity, continue facing forwards. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and really feel the stretch in your pecs, in your shoulder, and just across the whole front of your chest. Keeping the glutes really strong here to protect the lower back. And just one more breath in this baby camel pose. And then exhale, release your arms. Bring your mat back out if you had it tucked. Press the hands into the mat, tuck your toes, lift the hips up towards the sky. Downward dog pose. Let your neck hang here. Slide your shoulder blades down your back, keeping a slight bend in the knees and just reaching the heels towards the mat. Now grounding down through the right foot, lift the left leg up, out behind you, reaching out through the heel, keeping the hips squared to the earth. Then on your next inhale, turn your hips out to the side, and back to center. Just feeling your outstretched leg. Now engage the core, curl your knee towards your chest and step that left foot forwards to come towards your hands. Inhale to standing in a high lunge, pressing out through the right leg, really strong. Left knee over the ankle. Inhale, your arms up. Press the palms together down to heart center. One more breath in this lunge. Then step forward a tiny amount with the right foot and plant it flat on the mat, pointing out to the right at a 45-degree angle. Keep the hips squared forward. That bend in the left knee is still there. And then inhale, reach your arms up overhead for warrior one. Keeping the hips tucked so that you're not overarching the back at all, and breathing here. Now ground down through the left foot, spread your toes wide. We'll move into warrior three, so kick that right foot up, balance only on the left leg, and extend that right leg out behind you, pressing out through the heel, parallel to the mat. Your arms stretched out to the side for balance, and keeping your torso as parallel to the mat as you can here. Then on your next inhale, slowly bring that right foot to the inside of the left leg for tree pose. The foot can either be in a kickstand at the ankle, so the toes on the mat and the heel just above the ankle, or the foot can come to the inside of the shin or the thigh, just not the knee. Inhale your arms up overhead or your palms to heart center. Really strong in the legs, especially in the glutes, as you try to keep your right knee opening out to the side, not pointing forwards. You can also keep your hands on your hips for balance. Now exhale and release your foot down to the floor, shake out the legs, And come into mountain pose, so feet about hip width distance apart, roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Legs are strong, core is strong, and reach up through the crown of the head, lengthening the spine. On your next exhale, fully relax your abdominal muscles, all the way from your belly down to your pelvis. Take 2 deep breaths here, feeling the deep stretch in your abdominal muscles. On your next inhale, roll the shoulders up, back, and down your back again, engaging the core again for a mountain pose, just for 2 breaths. Now we'll move into eagle pose, so ground down through the right foot, spread the toes into the mat, cross your left thigh over top of the right leg, and if you can, tuck that foot in behind the right leg. Extend your arms out in front of you, place the right elbow on top of the left elbow, bend at the elbows, turn the palms to face the sides, and then bring your hands as close together as you can, maybe even grabbing your right thumbs with your left fingers. Pressing the palms together if you can. And if you can't quite tuck that left foot behind the right leg, just keep the left thigh over top of the right and flex out through the heel of the left foot. We'll take a couple more breaths here in eagle pose. You'll feel a deep stretch in your shoulders as well as in your hips. Another option for the arms is to press the palms together and reach the elbows towards each other in front of you. And on your next exhale, unwinding, coming out of the pose, shake out the legs, and we'll repeat on the other side. Grounding down through the left foot, lifting the right thigh over top of the left leg, with the right foot tucked behind the left leg, or just flexing out through the heel. Now extend your arms in front of you and place the left elbow on top of the right elbow. Bend the arms, face the palms out, and then reach them towards each other. If you can, press the palms together, lifting the elbows up and away from the floor, and then reaching your hands away from your face. Maybe crouching down a little bit more, keeping the legs really, really strong, breathing into the deep shoulder stretches, taking a couple more breaths in eagle pose here. And on your next exhale, unwinding, releasing from the pose, shaking up the legs. Come back into mountain, rolling the shoulders back, engaging the legs and core, reaching up through the head. And then exhale, fold over the legs. Make sure your feet are at least hip width distance apart, if not a little bit wider. And then put a slight bend in your knees so that your stomach is resting on your thighs. Grab onto both the elbows and allow your head to hang, the neck relaxing. Unhinge your jaw. Just let the whole upper body relax into ragdoll pose. This is our final pose for this class, so feel free to add in any movement that feels good. Make sure you switch the hands over at some point in this pose. Maybe shaking your head, nodding, waving your arms from side to side as you let your torso hang over your legs. And just a couple more breaths in ragdoll. And then on an exhale, release your arms. Slowly roll up through the spine as you inhale. Back to standing. Roll the shoulders back. Mountain pose. One breath. And then inhale, reach your arms up overhead, palms pressed together. Exhale, palms to heart center. Thank you for joining today. Namaste.